Funny true story. I got back from New York, I was fully jet lagged, and the next day we had a big global team meeting. So the global heads of the team flew down. This was a meeting with about 9 people, me included, and it started at 9 AM. I was jet lagged, I got in at 10:30 AM. Not good look, especially from the most junior person around the table. What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are covering the truth about traveling for work. That means business class flights, fancy cars picking you up from home, all your expenses covered, and more. If you aren't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram for giveaways and more frequent posts on productivity, life advice and career tips. Let's get straight into it. We've all been there, whether in university or after graduating, sold on the idea of getting to travel for work. You know, going to LA or San Francisco or New York, traveling all over Europe, going to Singapore, Malaysia, Africa, wherever it might be. It's always sounded exciting, and you know, we've all wanted to do it as part of our job. I mean, who would not want to travel for free, have all their expenses covered, and fly all over the world as part of their 9 to 5? You get your business cards with your name on it. Above your name says Goldman Sachs and you're super excited. You know, you've got that stamp of approval, that badge of honor. You get your BlackBerry, you know, back then it was Blackberries. You get your assistant taking your passport to photocopy it. Your assistant gives you your American Express corporate credit card. You know, all your spending will be done on that. You expense it, the firm pays for everything, and you're feeling good, you're feeling good. It's a good feeling and you feel like you've made it. And then your assistant tells you, you know, you've got $25 to spend on breakfast every day. You've got $50 for lunch and you've got $75 for dinner. And I don't know about you, but being me, you're obviously gonna max it out. You eat lots, you max it out. You spend on things that you typically might have thought twice about. And it's nice, you're living the good life. Your 3-day business trip to New York turns into a 3-day business trip to New York plus 4 days of annual leave. And then that turns into a 1-week holiday to the Big Apple. Life is good. You work for a prestigious investment bank or consulting firm. You post New York for work this week on the gram. All your friends tend to envy you, and I mean, who can blame them? The hard work and the graft that you put in, it seems to be paying off. You made it, kind of. But then the routine tends to become travel, do the meetings, and then travel back ASAP. And it's a repetitive process. Travel, meeting, travel back. You don't want to spend as many days from your annual leave on holidays for work because you need to use them in different holidays or different ways that are relevant to you and your personal circumstances. So once again, it becomes travel, do the meeting, travel back. Also, over the last few years, and especially now, given the whole coronavirus pandemic, every single organization, investment banks, consulting firms, etc., they are very, very cost conscious. They are heavily cutting down expenses when it comes to corporate travel, and so firms have fully scrapped their corporate travel for all their employees unless it's mandatory, usually at the executive or senior C-suite level. Also, with the rise of apps like Zoom, corporate travel is on the decline. Why would an organization spend $10,000 flying out one of their employees to a meeting in a different continent when they can host that same meeting on Zoom via video conference calling? So, as companies are becoming more and more cost conscious, the case for cutting costs continues to rise. So it's good to be aware of that. Traveling for work is great, but it does create more and more work and an extended to-do list. So it's good to be aware of that. Not only do you have all of your work that you need to do that you would typically do in a given week or day, but now you need to go and host a client. You need to run that meeting. You need to make sure it runs smoothly. You need to make sure you're taking notes. You need to make a mental note of everything that was discussed in that meeting. Once the meeting is over, you need to type up everything that is in your head and make sure you get that in an email or a document. You need to send that to your team. You need to distribute it to your colleagues. And most importantly, there will be a number of follow-ups from the meetings that you host. So the clients will usually want stuff from your end. So you need to work on getting all of that information over to the client. Now, it's also important to know, you don't just travel and it's just fun and games. Traveling is a huge cost to companies, and so when you travel, there are huge expectations. There's a lot of pressure. You are traveling to go and host meetings. There needs to be an end result. I always say this, banking, finance, consulting, they're all results-driven industries, and so when you travel for work, your manager isn't going to let you travel for fun. After that meeting happens, there needs to be a result or an outcome later on. There needs to be a sale, a purchase, a bigger play on a relationship, whatever it might be, there needs to be some sort of outcome from your meetings. Otherwise, what's the point of sending an employee, spending on an employee to travel for work? Also, with emails piling up when you're out of the office, you can expect after your travels, when you come back, you're probably going to be doing longer hours for the next few days because your emails have piled up, your to-do list has piled up. When you were traveling, work was getting built up on your desk, and so when you come back, there's all of that to do, plus all the other work that you built up when you were traveling. So traveling isn't always as positive as people make it. It's oftentimes one of the stressful parts of working for a big corporate. Then there's the jet lag. I was lucky enough to travel a number of times to New York when I was at Goldman, twice in economy as a graduate, so for graduate training, so analyst training. It was 5 weeks in New York, it was amazing. And then we did like a regroup a year or two after, and those were flying to New York in economy. And I traveled to New York for business as part of the team I was in twice, and that was in business class, and these were for global strategy days and meetings. The thumbnail of this video is me flying in first class to Brazil, 2 meters away from the Brazilian legend that is Ronaldo. And that was a flight that wasn't for work, that was a flight that was hooked up by my brother. And yeah, we managed to get first class, which was amazing. But yeah, I digress. Anyway, back to jet lag. Funny, true story. I got back from New York, I was fully jet lagged, and the next day we had a big global team meeting. So the global heads of the team flew down. This was a meeting with about 9 people, me included, and it started at 9 AM. I was jet lagged, I got in at 10:30 AM. Not a good look, especially from the most junior person around the table. I also felt a bit bad for my manager, because for her it was most embarrassing because her analyst is, you know, slacking. But rest assured, I didn't feel like lying to them. I was straight up and honest. I said jet lag, I was tired, I overslept, blah blah blah. Everyone just laughed about it. It was completely fine. So that is one time when jet lag fully ruined my day, but no big deal. You know, everyone makes mistakes. It's always best to just stick your hands up, be honest, be open, rather than make up a lie, and then it kind of spirals things out of control, which is the last thing you want to do. So, what can we learn about traveling for business? The truth is, as with all things, it comes with pros and cons. And as an undergrad or a recent grad or a new joiner to any organization, it's something that we've all dreamt of and always aspired to do. Traveling for work, getting paid while working, expenses covered. It's the good life, right? But let me tell you one thing that's true for most things in life, and that is novelty wears off. Typically, once we reach our goals and they become the norm, we tend to get used to them and bored of them. And that's why we tend to seek new challenges and set new goals. Once we achieve it, we want to do something else because we get bored, it becomes the norm. It's human nature, and it's part of the process of continuous growth. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment, share and subscribe. If you aren't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Afzal_Hussein. Leave any questions down below, and I will see you in the next video.